Hi folks, welcome back to some of the common recognition rewards. I just wanted to share a story with you here on the travel one. It's only 21% of the more common rewards that are given. But just to show you how effective it can be, it really depends on the company. But I used to work for a company and we used to have a condo in Las Vegas. And it was really interesting because a lot of the sales guys, when they were entertaining clients and stuff, they might take them to Vegas and we'd have a place where we can, wine and dine clients, right? So it was really interesting because I'd worked in HR for this company, and one of the things that we decided to do for employees who performed really well, and we had certain parameters and stuff like that, but we said for anybody who performs really well, why should only salespeople get a chance to take clients there? If somebody has contributed, significantly, whether it's a team or an individual, to the bottom line of the company, why can't somebody in the HR department or the marketing assistant or, the accountant or, the IT or computer programmer, be allowed to, benefit from some of these things? So what we did is we said we're going to, ask employees to recommend people that they think are noteworthy, and it was like a competition, right? Things that they've done to help their coworkers, to contribute to the bottom line, those kinds of things. And we had it all scoped out, and our VP of HR worked with a couple of people in HR as well as our CEO on it, and we put together this little competition, and people would nominate people from the workplace for it, and we had a lot of nominations. We had a committee that was made up of customers, that was made up of internal employees, a committee, and the reward was 1 week paid vacation in the condo. Now, when we say paid vacation, we paid for your flight, okay? We gave you a food allowance, right? And we even gave you some chips to go to the casino or some money to go to the casinos, right? But it wasn't all expenses paid, but we paid for your flight. We didn't have to pay for your accommodation because that was already paid, and then we gave you a meal allowance. So it was really neat, and we actually had a team win, and we had a team of 4 people who won, and so they each got it. And what we did with them is a couple of them wanted to go at the same time to the condo. So those guys split the condo, so they went together, but they all had an individual meal allowance, right, that they had. And then the other 2 employees wanted to go separately and bring a spouse, which they could. So it was just a really neat thing to do, so people could say, hey, these great condos aren't just things that people talk about. We can actually go there and we can actually be recognized. And that was really cheap for us to do, believe it or not, because we actually had like a reward system for points on our executives that travel, right? So we redeemed we got them flights through our Air Miles program, right? And the condo didn't cost anything. So in essence, all we were doing is paying for their food, giving them a meal allowance, and giving them some money to go to the casino. I mean, what's the big deal? That's not a lot for what they've done for us. So, those things are really kind of neat. Some companies give timepieces like watches. Sometimes we find that those watches and any of these kinds of things can be given for, even years of service sometimes. If people have been not just, that they've contributed to the bottom line on a special project or something. Sometimes we give it to people who are long service employees as well. That can be part of recognition. More commonly, we'll give those people jewelry, okay, or timepieces like watches and stuff like that. But those are like neat kinds of things to do. The other thing that we did to recognize people, and one other company I worked at, it was a professional association. We gave our employees an extra vacation day. We just said, well, hey, what's wrong with that? So we rewarded them when they did good things or things that were contributing significantly to the company's achievements. And we would say, again, our committee would say, who do we think deserves this the most, right? Who's been burning the midnight oil? Who's been producing the best results? So you'd find that even people who didn't sell were doing a lot of things in the background that sometimes people don't always notice. But and they would get like a day's vacation paid, right? And they can use it whenever they wanted. So those are all great little things to do. So you have to sometimes get creative, but these are really neat things for employees. So in any case, that kind of concludes what we were what I wanted to say in employee recognition. But it would be interesting to hear from you guys if you want to post something on a discussion board or, in the general discussion board about neat recognition rewards that you've heard of.